actor servant supporting 4 other Bhakti Vriksha. So extensive Krishna consciousness experience and realizations, and actively participating in Bhakti Vriksha. Prabhuji is living in Bangalore, and he's basically got a very wonderful devotee family with his daughter and his good wife. Let us directly hear from Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Over to you.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you very much. In fact, I got opportunity to associate with this group sometime last year, one of the session about the mind control. So thank you very much for this opportunity. So we will, how is that, we will have Kirtan here or directly start with the session, that the short session that we had planned, Prabhu?
Maybe we can do a minute Kirtan and then we can get started with the session.
Okay. Namo Vishnu Padayam Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pachatya Deshatarini Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vindam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Kunja Bihari Radha Kunja Bihari Radhe Jaya Gandharvika Giridhari Gaura Hari Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Baladeva Ramai Jaya Sudarshana Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha Jaya Ananta De Lakshmi Narasimha Jaya Ananta De Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Hari Naam Sankirtan ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So Prabhu will get started. Sudhir Gopal Prabhu requested or asked me to rather to just go and understand this Prabhupada Pranam mantra. So we'll go slowly in this Pranam mantra. So before that, let's again offer 1 minute. Sorry, Prabhu, there is something at here. So I apologize for that.
No problem.
Okay, so let's get started. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pachatya Deshatarinim. So the translation, so we are singing this. This is a pranam mantra that we offer to Srila Prabhupada. The translation goes like this: I offer my respectful obeisances unto His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who is very dear to Lord Sri Krishna, and having taken shelter at his lotus feet, Vishnu Padaya. Namaste Saraswati Devi. Saraswati Devi, our respectful obeisances unto you, O spiritual master, who is the son of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami, Saraswati Devi. Gauravani Prachara, you are kindly preaching the message of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Nirvishesha Shunyavadi, to the delivering the Western countries which are filled with the Shunyavadi and Nirvisheshvadi and Vaidism, and Pachatta Deshatare, liberating or delivering the Western countries. So this pranam mantra is a kind of, it encapsulates the wonderful transcendental qualities. Why do we actually sing pranam mantra? Pranam mantra means what? As a practitioner, sadhakas, we have good habit that we always go, and as soon as we see Srila Prabhupada Murti, we offer obeisances to Srila Prabhupada, we chant pranam mantra. But how much we contemplate and how much we think that how deep they are. So it is very important. So today we'll try to go a little bit more analyzing of this because so much in depth, this transcendental knowledge packed in 3 to 4 words or 3 to 4 lines rather of glorifying Srila Prabhupada. It is very amazing when we analyze it. So let's get started. Nama. So it starts with a Nama. Nama means it is a sign of humility. It's like that we Namaste. Namaste in Hindi we say Namaste. Namaste means it's a that we are offering ourselves to the other person. So when we say we are offering, it includes Kayana Vacha Mana. So we are including our mind, our body, and words. So we are offering to our body, mind, and words to Srila Prabhupada. It is a sign of humility. When we are humble, the mercy flows unrestrictedly when they're from the top to the bottom. So when we become humble, so we are in a position to receive the blessing and mercy that Srila Prabhupada is offering to all of us. But if we are not merciful, we are not humble, then it actually becomes, it offers a resistance. Just like when we are swimming in water or pool or seawater, there is a current. When there is a resistance, then swimming becomes very difficult. So similarly, when we bow down, when we offer to Prabhupada, when there is a humility, it becomes much, much more easier. So the first word Nama means humility. We are offering our obeisances just like Namaste. So similarly, we are offering our humble obeisances to Srila Prabhupada. So as we bow down to Vaishnavas, as Prabhupada taught us that we address each other as Prabhuji, Prabhu, right? Prabhu means you are my master and I am your servant. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mentions in Chaitanya Charitamrita that, and Kaviraj Goswami says that, he asked Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what is your identity? And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Gopi Bharatru Padakamalayur Das Das Anudas. That means I identify myself as the servant of the lotus feet of Lord Sri Krishna, who is the maintainer of the gopis, Gopi Bharatur, maintainer. So even Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by his own example, showing that our identity is Dasosmi, I am the servant. And here Namo means we are offering our obeisances. If we are not humble, just like the water, the voltage, the current flows from the high voltage to the low voltage. So there should be potential difference. If there is no potential difference, the voltage, the current will not flow. Similarly, the heat will transfer from the high temperature to low temperature. In the same way, taking this mechanical example, that we can also understand that we become a recipient of mercy only when we are humble. In Adi Purana, there is a statement by Lord Krishna himself. He is addressing to Arjuna. He says, "My dear Partha, one who claims to be my devotee is not so. Only a person who claims to be devotee of my devotee is actually my devotee." So the word Namo indicates humility. So if we are offering Namaste to someone, that means we are taking the humble position. And that is how the Vedic culture is. That you see every day, when earlier days people used to meet to each other, they used to pronounce Namaste. So that means I am your humble servant. Next is Namo Om. Om is a transcendental sound vibration. So let us see in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says 9.17. He says, Pitamahasya Jagato Mata Dhata Pitah Vedyam Pavitram Omkara Ruga Sama Ijurevach. I am the father of this universe. Jagato Mata Dhata. I am the mother. I am the object of knowledge. Vedyam Pavitram Omkara. I am the syllable Om. Similarly, in Bhagavad Gita 7.8, Lord Krishna says that Rasoham Apsu Kaunteya Prabhu Asmi Shashi Surya Pranava Sarva Vedeshu Shabdake Purushonusho. He says that I am the taste of water, light of the sun, and I am the syllable Om in the Vedic mantras. So, in all the Vedic mantras, the word Om, called as Pranava, is a transcendental sound vibration and is also Krishna, because we just saw 9.17 and 7.8. Om means Krishna himself. So, Om is a representation of Lord Sri Krishna himself. So, we are actually taking the blessings of Krishna in this sound vibration when we chant those mantras. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudeva. So most of the Vedic mantras begins with Om. And why that? To please Krishna. Because anything that we please Krishna, of everything that we glorify, whether it is Vaishnava or Krishna, that glorification itself is very auspicious, and it pleases Krishna. And especially when we glorify Vaishnavas, it pleases Krishna extremely. So that is why we said Namo Om. So we are pleasing Krishna by glorifying Krishna's devotees. So Om, and also because when we are in contact with Krishna, automatically we become purified. And in Keval Astakam, Mangalam Mangale Byopi. So Mangalam Mangalevi Pavitram Pavitravi Hare Nama Eva Kevalam. So the holy name is so Mangalam, because we know that Krishna and Krishna's holy name are not different. So holy name is so Mangal, so that we can understand Krishna is so Mangal. So when we say Om, it is a representation of sound, representation of Krishna. So we are invoking the blessings and auspiciousness by chanting the word or the syllable Om. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya. Vishnu Padaya. Vishnu means the Supreme Lord Vishnu, also Lord Narayana, and also means Krishna. So depending on which perspective we are talking about. So Pada means lotus feet. The person who is surrendered to the lotus feet of Bhagavan or Vishnu, Narayan or Krishna. So he's called as Vishnu Padaya. So here Prabhupada is called as Vishnu Padaya. It is so important that we can go much deep here. Why it's called as Vishnu Padaya? Because Krishna and Vishnu, they are not different, but we'll not go in detail. But our Acharya says that Vishnu Padaya in Gaudiya Parampara, that we comes from Lord Brahma to Naradaji to Vyasadev and all the way to Jagannath Das Babaji, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur and Srila Prabhupada. Here all our Gaudiya Acharyas actually say that Vishnu represents here Krishna, who in Sanskrit Vishnu means which is all pervading, and here Vishnu is addressing as the Krishna who is everywhere present in Brajesh Nandana, because Krishna is present on the bank of Radha Kunda is on the bank of Sham Kund is bank of Yamuna. So Krishna is present everywhere. That Krishna, our Sanatan Goswami Acharya, Sanatan Goswami Pad says that here Vishnu Pad means Krishna who is present in Brajesh Nandana. So Vishnu Padai is the one who has taken the shelter of Lord Vishnu, nothing but Krishna who is present in Braja. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale. Bhutale means on this earthly planet. Krishna Preshtaya. Krishna Preshtaya means who is very dear to Krishna. And for that, I thought, okay, it would be good that we quote Bhagavad Gita, shloka number 68 from chapter 18 and 69 from chapter 18. It says that one who explains the supreme secret to the devotee, pure devotional service is guaranteed, and at the end, he will come back to me. And in the next shloka, it is said that such a devotee, such a servant in this world is more dear to me than he. There will be no devotee such a dear to me. So Krishna is saying that person who is spreading the glories of Bhagavad Gita, such a person is very dear. And we don't need any other explanation about how Prabhupada spread the glories of Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam all over the world within a span of 14 years. To give the epitome, to give the volume of what Srila Prabhupada has spread. If you see any other faith, other than our Sanatana Dharma, any other faith, if they have to spread all over the world, it took centuries. But Srila Prabhupada, in mere a decade, 14 years, he spread the message of Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam all over the world. And that is why he is very, very dear to Krishna. And that is why it is said, Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale. Srila Prabhupada, for the desire of fulfilling his spiritual master, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and coincidentally, his appearance day is tomorrow. So we'll be fasting tomorrow in the memory of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who is a guru of spiritual master of our Srila Prabhupada. So Srila Prabhupada, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur himself was very dear to Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada is very dear to Krishna because he actually fulfilled the desire of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And what was the Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's desire? That he wanted to spread the message of Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam all over the world. Narottam Das Thakur sings in a prarthana prayers, Dina hina jato chilo hari nama uddharilo taro sakshi jagai madhai. So by just chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hari Nama Uddharilo, this holy name delivered the Jagai and Madhai. So the same holy name Srila Prabhupada took and spread all over the world. And that is why Srila Prabhupada is very dear to Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And since Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur is very dear to Krishna, that makes Srila Prabhupada very, very dear to Krishna. And that's why it is said, Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale. Just like father and mother, the parents may have many sons and daughters. Father is equal, Sammoham Sarva Bhuteshu, just like Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 9.26. He says, Sammoham Sarva Bhuteshu Name Dveshasti Na Priya. Father is equal to everyone, but who makes him please, that son or daughter, that who endeavors to please father, just like suppose father gives money and the son goes and gets whatever he gets outside, and he comes to father and he says that father takes the first bite. That makes father very happy. That pleases the father. He's equal to everyone, and he is also the source of everything, the money that he's giving to son. But when the son comes and gives that one bite to father, that pleases the father a lot. Similarly, when Srila Prabhupada did everything in his life to please Krishna, and that is why he is a Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale. Is very, very dear to Lord Sri Krishna. So we saw Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namini. And that personality is Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada, when he got sannyasa, he was named as a Swami Maharaj. And when his godbrother saw that how Prabhupada is so expert in transcendental, in the Vedas, so they have given a title as Bhakti Vedanta. So we understand Veda. Veda means Vedic knowledge. Anta means the conclusion of the Vedanta. There are many, many Vedantis who studies Vedas, but Srila Prabhupada is the one who understood the conclusion of Vedas. And what did Srila Prabhupada understood from the conclusion? That it is the conclusion of all Veda is Bhakti. That's why Prabhupada is called as Bhakti Vedanta. Prabhupada understood that, and he not only he understood, not only he realized, but he spread that all over the world, that the conclusion of all the Veda is Bhakti, Supreme Personality of Godhead, the word coined by Srila Prabhupada, Bhagavan Purushottam in English as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Bhakti is everything. That is what Prabhupada spread all over the world. And that explanation, that everything is explained from the perspective of the pure devotional service. When we go to Bhagavad Gita, 6th chapter, Lord Krishna is talking about Dhyana Yoga. But if you see Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada is talking about Bhakti, devotional service. If we refer very wonderful shloka from Bhagavatam 1st canto, 2nd chapter, 28 and 29, and I have on the screen. It's very wonderful. Vasudeva para Veda, Vasudeva para Makha, Vasudeva para Yoga, Vasudeva para Kriya. Vasudeva param jnanam, Vasudevam param tapaha, Vasudeva paro dharma, Vasudeva para gati. The ultimate object of knowledge, Vasudeva para Veda, the objective knowledge, the objective of all knowledge is Vasudeva, which is nothing but Sri Krishna. Vasudeva para Makha, the purpose of all the sacrifices that we do is to please Vasudeva. Vasudeva para yoga, whatever the yogas that we do, it is to realize the Vasudeva Krishna. Vasudeva para kriya, whatever the kriyas or activities that we do, ultimately rewarded by Vasudeva only. Vasudeva param jnanam, he is the supreme knowledge. Vasudeva param tapa, whatever the austerities that we do, that are performed to know Lord Sri Krishna. Vasudeva param dharma, the supreme dharma is Vasudeva. Vasudeva Paragati, the supreme religion is to serve Vasudeva, and Vasudeva Paragati, the supreme destination is the supreme goal of life is Vasudeva. So we can understand from this Bhagavatam shloka that everything is Vasudeva, and that is what Prabhupada so expertly understood, so expertly realized, and that is what he spread all over the world, Bhakti Vedanta Swami iti namine, and that personality is Bhakti Vedanta Swami iti namine. His name is Bhakti Vedanta Swami. So Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami iti namine. Srimate, the word Srimate. Sri means opulence, Sri means Lakshmi Devi, Sri means good fortune, Mate means consciousness, whose consciousness is on that which is the absolute, which is the full opulence, which is nothing but goddess of fortune, or Srimati Radharani. In Vedic culture or in our ISKCON, when we call Matajis, they are addressed as Srimati. Srimati means is the feminine of that, and Sriman or Srimati is the muscular of that. Srimati, whose consciousness is completely fixed on Sri, that is a Radharani. Prabhupada or Gaudiya Parampara says that we please Krishna by pleasing Srimati Radharani. One Srila Prabhupada was in United States of America. In United States of America, and Prabhupada said that I will never fall down. And then devotees were Jai Prabhupada. And then Prabhupada went to the altar, and then he was praying to Srimati Radharani. And then Prabhupada's assistant asked, Prabhupada ji, may I ask you, what were you praying to Srimati Radharani? And he said that I was praying to Srimati Radharani that because of your mercy, that may I not fall down. And then Prabhupada's secretary asked, Prabhupada ji, you just said that you will never fall down. And then Prabhupada said that, no, you know the reason why I will not fall down. Because Prabhupada was very dear to Srimati Radharani. Because Prabhupada said that all we can do that, because even if sometimes Krishna, you know that Krishna is says that Sarva Dharman Parityaja Mam Ekam Sharam, you have to surrender to me by renouncing everything. But Srimati Radharani, just like mother is very merciful, Srimati Radharani is very merciful. She will recommend our name to Krishna that here is my devotee, please give your mercy. So like this, when we please Srimati Radharani, we actually become a recipient of mercy of Lord Sri Krishna. So Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami iti namine. Namaste, again Namaste, second time in the second stanza of these prayers, that we are offering our obeisances to Srila Prabhupada. Namaste. Next word is little confusing. Sometimes people use as Saraswati, but it is not the Saraswati. It is a Saraswati. Saraswati means just like Vasudev, son is Vasudev. Vasudev means is the son of Vasudev, who is the father of Krishna. Vasudev's son is Vasudev, and Janak Maharaj's daughter is Janaki. So similarly, Saraswati, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and we are celebrating his appearance day tomorrow. His spiritual son is Srila Prabhupada. That's why he's called as a Saraswati, the obedient son of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So that's why it is called as a Saraswati. Because it is so nice that we are also glorifying Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur in Srila Prabhupada's Pranam Mantra, and it is very, very pleasing to Srila Prabhupada, because when you glorify Srila Prabhupada's spiritual master, Prabhupada becomes very, very pleased, and that is where it's called Saraswati. Why here Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur? Because if we understand Prabhupada's, and time is actually limit, but we can go, and how Srila Prabhupada become so dear to Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, because Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur gave two instructions, very prominent to main instruction he gave to Srila Prabhupada, that go and preach in the very first meeting, 1922, very first meeting when he met Srila Prabhupada, that he said that you go and preach this message of Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. And again in 1936 in Vrindavan, he said that if you get money, print books and distribute. And we know that Srila Prabhupada whole life, Delhi's experience, Prabhupada, he would faint in summer and hot, and the people will actually, while distributing Back to Godhead magazine, 1965, he went to the United States of America on Jaladuta, where he did not have money, and it was like a, it was not like a plane, but it was a cargo ship where it is meant for moving the goods from one place to that. 37 days of journey in a seasick, he got 2 heart attacks, everything just to please Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and to execute the mission of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, that to preach and print the books of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So that is why it is called as a Saraswati Devi, the spiritual son of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Just like Krishna is known typically by 2 types of name categories. One is a Gauna name, secondary names, which actually gives Krishna's qualities, just like Bhagavan, Parameshwara, Ishwara, like this. So, but there is another category of the name called as Pramukha, where Krishna is called as Nanda Nandana, the son of Nanda Maharaj, Damodar, who is bound by the rope, who is Yashoda Nandan, the son of Mother Yashoda. This name is very pleasing to Krishna, because when we call Krishna with this name, either it is related to Krishna's pastime or Krishna's devotees, like Nanda Nandana, because Nanda Maharaj, Krishna's son, Yashoda Nandana, and Mother Yashoda is involved in Krishna. Krishna becomes very pleased when we call Krishna Radha Gopinath, Radha Damodar, Damodar. Krishna was bound by Mother Yashoda by a rope, so that's why he's called as a Damodara. So Krishna is very pleased when we call by this, the prominent name, the Pramukha name. So similarly here, Prabhupada is called as a Saraswati Devi, who is the spiritual son of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Gauravani Pracharini. Gauravani means the teachings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So there is Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has composed a very beautiful prayers. Aradhya Bhagavan Brajesh Tanaya Tadadharm Tadadham Vrindavan Ramya Kachit Upasana Vrachavadhu Varksene Va Kalpita Srimad Bhagavatam Paramam Amal Pura Prema Pura Puma Artho Mahan Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Matam Idam Tadarthana Para. So what is the Gauravani? What is the teaching of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? This shloka actually gives the teaching of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teaching is that if you want to worship any Bhagavan, any personality, Aradhya Bhagavan Brajesh Tanaya, the son of Brajesh. Braja means the Braja, Brajavas, and Ish means the king of Braja. Brajesh Tanaya, the son of Brajesh, which is nothing but Lord Sri Krishna. If you want to worship, you worship the Aradhya Bhagavan. And if you want to go and visit Dhama, Tada Dhama Vrindavan, go and visit Vrindavan Dham. And how to serve Krishna in that? In the mood of Ramya Kachit Upasana Vraja Vadhu Vargenava Kalpita. If you want to worship Krishna, if you want to serve Krishna, serve in the mood of the gopis that they serve Krishna. And if you want to study any Puranas or any Vedic scripture, Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanam Amal Purana. So the spotless Bhagavad Purana. If you want to study the scripture, study Srimad Bhagavatam. Why? Because Prema Puma Artho Mahan. Bhagavatam will give the highest destination and the highest highest gift that one can actually one can aspire in our life is a Krishna Prema, and that can be achieved by Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanam Amal Puranam. So that Bhagavatam is that, and that is the teaching Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Matam. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that is the Matam, that is the teaching of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So what is the teaching of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Aradhya Bhagwan is Brajesh Nandan, which is Lord Sri Krishna. If you want to visit any dham, that is the Vrindavan dham. If you want to worship Krishna, worship in the mood of gopis. And if you want to study the scripture, study Srimad Bhagavad Purana. And that Gauravani Pracharini, and Chaitanya, our founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada took this teachings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and spread all over the world. And you can see that Prabhupada's teaching, Prabhupada's purpose, Prabhupada's morning walks, Prabhupada's discussions, Prabhupada's letter is all about studying Bhagavatam, all about Bhagwan Sri Krishna, chanting his holy name, hearing about his Krishna Katha, Hari Nam, everything about Krishna, 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 Krishna. Because Prabhupada exactly understood the mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Gauravani Pracharini. And what did Prabhupada do? Nirvishesha Shunyavati Pachat Deshatarine. I'm almost about finishing another couple of minutes. So Prabhupada delivered Nirvishesha. Nirvishesha means all Mayavadis who think that there is no God or we all are God, and all these such kind of people delivered by Srila Prabhupada. Nirvishesha Shunyavadi. Shunyavadi means those are those people who consist, we think that it's like Buddhism. They are thinking there is no soul, neti, nothing is there. Once we die, everything will be finished. Those are the Shunyavadi. Nirvishesha Shunyavadi. So Prabhupada delivered so many people like this. We can take many examples. People went all over the Himalayas, and they went with different tantric, mantric, different yogis, but they were not satisfied. Finally, they came to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada delivered them. So we can understand that Nirvishesha, Shunyavadi. Nirvishesh means those are Mayavadis who think that we are all God, or there is no God, God has no form. But Prabhupada said that Supreme Personality of God, Bhagwan Purushottam. So Prabhupada delivered all those people, Mayavadi and Shunyavadi. And what did he do? Pachat Desha Tarini. He delivered all the Vaishnavas, all the happies. Prabhupada converted them as a Brahmanas. Those hippies were addicted to everything that we can think of that is socially against the Vedic culture, principles of Vedic culture. They were rampant meat eating, intoxications, gambling, illicit sex, you name it, they did it. But it is only the caliber of great Vaishnava of Srila Prabhupada who came and delivered them and made them into Vaishnavas. And that is what Prabhupada is called as Pachatta Desha Tarini. He delivered all these Pachatta Desha, Western peoples. And that is why Prabhupada was so happy that when he would come and he would bring all his Westerners people, he said that is all my white elephants. Because you know that Indians, they would not do anything. But when they see that the Westerners are doing, and then they will follow that. So Prabhupada was very visionary. So Pachatta Desha Tarini. Once, just last couple of, and then we'll stop here if any question. Prabhupada was asked by journalists, because in India, the sadhu is expected to do some miracle, some chamatkar, some jadoo. So Prabhupada was asked, can you show any miracles? And the Prabhupada said that, what more miracle you want? That I converted all hippies into happies. And that is what the greatness of Srila Prabhupada. So, Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale. Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pachatya Desha Tarini. That great personality is our founder Acharya, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. We offer our obeisances to Srila Prabhupada, take his blessings, and it is because of Srila Prabhupada we are here studying Bhagavad Gitas and Bhagavatam. So with that, we will pause here. If any questions are there, we can discuss. Otherwise, I will hand over to Prabhu's Anand.
Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, Aishwarya here.
Yes, Mataji.
Prabhuji, who composed these lines? Which disciple of Srila Prabhupada?
Prabhupada himself gave. Prabhupada knows that these people don't understand. They will not be able to understand the greatness of Srila Prabhupada. So Prabhupada himself composed. So it is not eulogizing himself, because when I do myself, then it is a self-glorification. But Prabhupada's is not the glorification, it is the fact. Because when we say Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi, let's challenge ourselves and see that if we can change ourselves. But Prabhupada not only changed Indians, but he went all the way to the Western countries and delivered all these Pachat, Nirvishesh and Shunyavadi people. So it was Prabhupada who himself composed, understanding the people's intelligence, especially in Kali Yuga, and that to Westerner people. So he understood that it is better that I compose, and they will understand the greatness of Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी, दंडवत प्रणाम।
हरे कृष्णा प्रीति माता जी, कैसे हैं माता जी आप?
जी मैं ठीक हूँ। मैं कितने दिनों से ये मंत्र तो मैं सुनते सुनते याद हुआ, और मैं जब बोलती हूँ तो एक दिन अचानक से मुझे इस मंत्र का जो आपने अभी इतने अच्छे से वर्णन किया, मेरे मन में इच्छा हुई कि मैं इसका अर्थ जानूं। और मैंने सोचा नहीं था कि लॉर्ड कृष्णा मुझे आज उसका आंसर देंगे आपके थ्रू। उसके लिए बहुत बहुत आपको भी थैंक यू, श्री प्रभुपाद जी को भी थैंक यू, लॉर्ड कृष्णा को भी थैंक यू, ढेर सारा थैंक यू। इतने अच्छे से आपने डिस्क्राइब किया और आप इतने भावुक हो गए। इससे ये पता चलता है कि आप कितना अपने गुरु को, श्री प्रभुपाद जी को, लॉर्ड कृष्णा को कितना प्रेम करते हैं, वो आपको कितना प्रेम करते हैं। ऐसा ही वो लव, वो इतना सारा वो भक्ति आप आशीर्वाद दें कि जितने भी भक्त अभी जुड़े हुए हैं सबको मिले, ये मेरी इच्छा है।
माता जी धन्यवाद। प्रभुपाद जी बोलते हैं कि मैन प्रोपोजेस एंड गॉड डिस्पोजेस। अगर हमारे पास कुछ इच्छा हो, और स्पेशली भगवान को अगर तृप्त करने की, भगवान के बारे में जानने के लिए, तो भगवान कृष्ण कुछ ना कुछ अरेंजमेंट करते हैं, एंड somehow it makes that desire fulfilled. और दूसरी एक चीज, अगर कुछ हमारे पास है तो ये सब प्रभुपाद जी की कृपा है। प्रभुपाद जी की कृपा की वजह से ही ये सब हो रहा है। Otherwise, what qualification do we have? Once His Grace Gauranga Prabhu said that what qualification do we have in Kali Yuga? Especially this body is made up full of stool, urine, and everything. And top of that, we don't have intelligence and all things, and there is no sanskaras done to this body. So हमारे पास कुछ भी qualification नहीं. But Prabhupada makes hippies into happy. Similarly, Prabhupada made like us the fools and rascals. And somehow because of Prabhupada जी की कृपा से अभी हम कुछ भगवद गीता के बारे में स्टडी कर रहे हैं, उसका अध्ययन कर रहे हैं। ये सब प्रभुपाद जी की कृपा है। And because of Prabhupada, that we all are actually doing all those things. And it also becomes हमारी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी होती है कि अगर हमने प्रभुपाद जी से ये लिया तो हम प्रभुपाद जी के लिए क्या करें। तो ये जो प्रीचिंग मिशन है प्रभुपाद जी ने जो स्टार्ट किया, इससे so that we actually become a part of that, whatever we have received from Prabhupada, we give to others.
जी
Hare
थैंक यू।
Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji. So it's 5:42. I was told till 5:45. So another couple of minutes and we'll pause here.
I'm Hema Jaikumar. Actually, I just wanted to tell. Actually, I wanted to say that I do Abhishekam before chanting this mantra. Is it correct, or should I chant some other mantra before Abhishekam?
Which Abhishekam, Mataji?
That Krishna Abhishekam I do every day.
Oh, okay. So
Krishna,
it is always good, Mataji, that because our Vedic culture, when Prabhu Ramchandraji, he went to Mithila Nagari, and there was a Janaki's Swayam Vivaha was actually happening. And Vishwamitra says, go and now it is your turn. So what did he do? First, he actually took the blessing from Vishwamitra, and then he actually went. So similarly, it is a Vedic culture that we take blessings and mercy of our elders, our parents, our guru. So it is always very, very auspicious that we seek blessings of Srila Prabhupada before we start any auspicious activity, anything. That's why so it is always very great that we seek blessings of Srila Prabhupada before Abhishekam, before chanting, before doing anything, so that when Srila Prabhupada blessings and mercy is there, our activities and everything, life will be successful, glorious.
Okay, Prabhuji, thank you very much.
Why do we use this mantra before offering food to the Lord? Yes, of course, then as I said, that seeking the blessing of Srila Prabhupada. Please forward this pranam mantra to WhatsApp group. Yes, our devotees will do. Then Mataji Lord Krishna love the praises of his devotee. Okay, I think that's all right, Prabhu. Anand Prabhu, Deepak
Yes,
Prabhu, Chandan
thank
Prabhu,
you.
Ravi Shankar Prabhu.
Yes,
thank you very much
Kishore
for
Prabhu.
giving this opportunity, and it's always glorious to. Sorry, Prabhu, is somebody saying? Or Sarvanath Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam Prabhu.
Sure, Prabhu. I think it's wonderful hearing you. First of all, Prabhu, you simplify the most complex topics, right? That's always been your specialty. And now hearing this full meaning of this mantra, a few pronunciation mistakes, which I would make in my, like for example, Saraswati, right? So I'll be more careful in pronouncing this right. And I think there'll be more emotion now in actually basically reciting the mantra. It's not going to be mechanical, right? So thank you so much again, Prabhuji. Anybody who wants to add before Prabhuji takes leaves?
Absolutely agree with you, Prabhuji. Sometimes we say Saraswati Devi, but it's Saraswati Devi. This correction was made by Harichitra Prabhu also for me. So I corrected from that time only. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank
you.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
It will be more emotional. So you know the meaning actually. Like there is a Gnatva Kurvita Dharmani, Gnatva Kurvita Karmani. No, it's like in the Bhagavad Gita, it says, Lord Krishna says, no, like know the thing and do the karma. Gnatva Kurvita Karmani. Now, like with this meaning which we learned, it will be more emotional. Like it will add emotion now.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Once more. Hari Bol.
Oh, sorry, I'm on mute. So thank you very much, devotees. Thank you very much. So my request is that please study Bhagavad Gita very systematically and become the missionary preacher in Srila Prabhupada mission and give to others. Bharat Bhumite Haile Manushya Janma Yara Janma Sarthaka Kare Kara Para Upakar. So once you become an expert in studying Srila Prabhupada books and you give this message to others, and that is how our life becomes successful, glorious, by utilizing in the service of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada has done so much for all of us. Something Prabhupada said that you have wasted so many human lives. Just give this one life for Krishna. Just one life for Krishna. And see how our life will be. Anyway, we have utilized many lives for Maya service. Let's this give one life for Krishna service, and our life will be glorious. Thank you very much. Vancha kalpataru bhishya kripa sindhu vevacha patitanna pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Srila Prabhupada ki
jai. Thank you. Looking forward to meeting you soon.
Thank you. Thank you. So may I take a permission to leave, Prabhu? Anand Prabhu, Sarvanath Prabhu, Deepak Prabhu, Chandan Prabhu.
Sure.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
So we'll start chanting the holy names. Before that, so we'll go through this passage on the nectar of the holy name for this age, Kirtana. So in this age, Kali Yuga, one cannot execute any process of self-realization or perfection of life other than Kirtan. Kirtan is essential in this age. In all Vedic literatures, it is confirmed that one must meditate on the supreme absolute truth, Vishnu, not on anything else. But there are different processes of meditation recommended for different ages. The process of mystic yogic meditation was possible in Satyug when men lived for many thousands of years. Now people will not believe this, but in a previous age, there were people who lived for 100,000 years. That age was called Satyug, and the meditation of mystic yoga was possible at that time. In that age, the great yogi Valmiki Muni meditated for 60,000 years. So that is a long-term process, which is not possible to execute in this age. If one wishes to conduct a fast, that is another matter. But if one actually wants to practice such meditation, it takes an extremely long time to perfect such. So in the next age, Treta Yuga, the process of realization was to perform the various ritualistic sacrifices recommended in the Vedas. In the next age, Dwapar Yuga, the process was temple worship. In this present age, the same result can be achieved by the process of Hari Kirtan or glorification of Hari, that is Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thank you so much. So we'll proceed towards chanting.
Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Srivasadi Gaur Bhakti Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Sivasadi Gaur Bhakti.
Hare Krishna. So, Prabhuji will move to the breakout room.
Yes, Prabhu. Let's move to the breakout.
Hare Krishna, Padmavati Mataji, do you know which Bhakti Vriksha you belongs to? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna devotees, please join your breakout room.